Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're watching me. It is October the 2nd, 2017. My name is Amanda Ellis, and I am recording a video for you today where I channel through the energies of Archangel Metatron, Archangel Sandalphon, and Archangel Chamuel, all of whom are here today to help steer you through the coming month. I think it might be, I was going to say I think it might be Chamuel, but no, I think it's Metatron actually, who's really asking us to greet each other with Aloha, the Hawaiian greeting. And it's not one that I commonly use, probably because it's not really from my culture. I've heard others say Aloha to others. And so I've just looked up actually the meaning of it. And it says here, it's a Hawaiian word of love, affection, peace, compassion, and mercy. So it feels an important greeting this month. And maybe it's also important to hold those qualities of love, affection, peace, compassion, and mercy. And maybe we'll come back to that, but it was the first thing I heard on waking this morning. I thought, that's unusual. Why is he talking about aloha? So, and I don't think it's just that I've had somebody over the weekend order my sprays from Hawaii. I don't think it's just that. It was something else. So let's get to it. October 2017. What we are going to be doing is I'm going to be using 3 decks of cards today. I've deliberately actually chosen decks that are a little bit quirky, I suppose. Well, the least quirky one is probably the Keepers of the Light deck by Kyle Gray. But I've also been pulled to use some Sacred Geometry cards today by Francine Hart. And then I'm going to use the Colour Oracle cards by Sloane. So we have no tarot here, and that's the way it's supposed to be, for whatever reason. I'm going to start with the Kyle Gray cards actually, and then we'll get into the others. But as I just sort of shuffle them on camera, one thing I am hearing very, very clearly is that it is important that we tread softly upon the earth this month. Okay, and that is an individual responsibility I'm hearing, to tread softly upon the earth. And that's coming in from Archangel Sandalphon, who rules the Earth Star chakra. Okay, now I think the message is because the world as we know is in a lot of chaos at the moment. I'm actually recording this on Monday when there's some sort of, I don't know, live shooting happening in Las Vegas. I want to talk on my Facebook page later about the situation in Spain with the Catalonian vote. There's been a lot of violence overnight. There's a lot of information coming through, but that's not the purpose of this video. But you know, it's like every morning we wake up and there's just something else happening, whether it's natural disasters, terrorism, you know, the list just goes on and on. And today's news is just an example of that. So we can feel very powerless at an individual level in terms of what to do, other than pray or meditate or send healing. But I'm really hearing it's very important this October for us all to tread softly upon Mother Earth. And I think it's because I've talked a lot about the Earth going through ascension pains, birth pains, and what Sandalphon is saying to me. And actually Archangel Sandalphon is an energy that helps women to conceive as well, to conceive babies, and is there with Gabriel at the time of birth as well. So it's really appropriate the Sandalphon is coming through now. Actually, can I just spray the Sandalphon energy? This is bronze, Archangel Sandalphon. It's a bronze energy, just while I'm talking about Sandalphon, because it's he who's brought through this message about treading softly upon the earth. And he's saying, in the same way that you would treat a woman in labour with great dignity, great respect and softness. If you think about somebody who's beside a woman giving birth, you know, they might be, I don't know, playing them soft music, they might be stroking their back, They might be wiping the sweat from their brow, but it's a very sacred place to be in, and it's a very reverent energy that you need to step into when you witness somebody giving birth. And the earth is giving birth to this new world, and she's really struggling, and I've talked about that in previous videos. So what we can do at an individual level is to tread very softly upon her, to honour her, to and that can mean many, many things. It can be to do with, you know, not dumping rubbish into the soil. It can be to do with tending our own patch of earth. It can also be to do with not adding to the aggravation and the anger that is already out there, and that Mother Earth is having to transmute at the same time that she's trying to give birth to this new planet. Okay, and the way that we add aggro that she has to transmute, one of the biggest ways, is through getting into drama, you know, getting into drama, getting all worked up over nothing. And Sandalphon is really asking us to take a deep breath and to reflect before maybe responding to situations or people in our life that maybe might trigger us. But do we actually really have to come back and say anything? Do we have to give our 2 pennies worth, you know? Do we have to stand up for ourselves the whole time if it is going to lead to more aggravation? I'm a great believer in speaking our truth, and it's very important in life that we do speak our truth. But I'm also learning in 5th dimensional consciousness that sometimes, well no, not sometimes, often there is a place, particularly when you are maybe dealing with situations or people that are not on the same vibrational frequency as you. They might be very much stuck in 3D. Is there really any point in continuing the argument? Or, yeah, that's what I want to say, continuing the argument or starting an argument, even if you're in the right, when basically it's just going to lead to more aggro, because you're not going to win over people who are at a different vibrational frequency from you. That's not your job. And so by inflaming situations in our personal life and our individual lives, we are fanning the flames of turmoil that is out there in the world at the moment. And ultimately, something has to transmute all of that turmoil, and that is Mother Earth. At the same time that she's actually trying to give birth to this new Earth, which is to do with frequency upgrade. Okay, so please bear that in mind, Sandalphon is saying. And Sandalphon is reminding you that he is the archangel who helps take your prayers to God. And so if you have a situation in your personal life which you're really struggling with, and you know, you do want to say something to the other party, but maybe it's an argument that you have all the time and you just know the way it's going to play out. You know what they're going to say back to you, you know what you're going to say, or you know the response you're going to get from whoever it is you're wanting to talk to. So it's useless, to be honest. Give those concerns to Sandalphon, because Sandalphon can take them up to the Godhead, to Source. And in that way, they're not going down into the earth. Sandalphon's quite an interesting energy, really. Like Metatron, they both are fascinating because they both are bridges between heaven and earth. And so when you give your concerns to an archangel, they will take them up, they will take them away from this plane. But when we're trying to transmute them ourselves, a lot of the time they're just going right down into Mother Earth, and it's the last thing she needs at the moment. Okay, so that's just a bit of guidance coming through from Sandalphon. Let's just see if there's anything else Sandalphon wants to say before we move on. I'm just seeing all these soft little footsteps upon the earth. I'm almost seeing ballet shoes. It's that type of energy, very soft patter upon the earth of the message has been heard, and we are going to respond to that. So well done, guys. Okay, let's pull some cards now from Carl Gray. And as I say, this is the Keepers of the Light deck, so contains many different energies, many different beings, all of whom are here to help us. So what beings particularly are coming forward to assist us in October 2017? And this is in terms of our individual private lives. One more shuffle. Okay. And I'll take the one off the top, which is Saint Germain. We'll take the next one off the top, which is Isis. I'm smiling because I work with and I know these energies very well. And the third one is Hope. Okay, so we have those. And actually on the bottom of the pack as well, we have Holy Amethyst. So we have two energies which talk about the violet flame being very important to invoke this October. And if we're being told in a double message, basically, two energies here, Saint Germain and Holy Amethyst, both of whom are linked into violet flame energies. And violet flame is about transmuting, you know, it's about what I've just said, basically, transmuting lower energies, letting them go, you know, purification. If we've got that message twice, it's probably saying something about maybe what's coming up this October. I hate to be the bearer of bumpy news. I want to say bumpy news rather than bad news, because to write off a month as being, oh, it's going to be heavy, you know, who wants to hear that at the beginning of a month? I think bumpy news is the better way to put it, because if we have a bumpy month, it also means we get some good bits, okay? We have some highs as well as some lows. But looking at Saint Germain and this particular card here, he's actually, again, this thing about karma is coming up. Seems to be a consistent theme through 2017. That this is, we're at the end of a cycle. You know, I feel like I'm repeating myself. I've said this before, but again, you know, we've got three circles here on this card, okay? Maybe it also links into three chances through 2017 to end particular karmic cycles. At least, I actually think two of those cycles have passed already. Cycles isn't quite the right word. Windows might be a better word. There have been, or there will be, by the time 2017 completes, there will have been three windows that were available to us to really complete some important karmic cycles with grace. And again, I use that word drama, and that's what we've got here on the card for Saint Germain. It actually says, move beyond drama, create your own path, make room for good energy, okay? So if we're holding on to resentments, to hurts, to arguments, to he said that, she did this, blah, 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 that isn't creating any space within our energetic body to receive these two qualities that want to come in. Isis, which is about manifesting magic, and Hope, which is about love and acceptance. So before we get to those good bits this month, we have to be, I think there's a period of releasing, okay? Before I say any more on that, I want to pull a card from the Colour Oracle deck to go with these sort of violet energies that we've got sitting here. So I'm going to pull a card here from the Colour Oracle deck by Leslie Sloane. And I like using these in particular just because they are, well, they're beautiful artwork, but you can read a lot into them. You know the way that I work with cards, I don't necessarily always read the meanings. I like to interpret them in my own way, and that way you can allow spirit to speak through you. So I'm just closing my eyes so I can't see which card we're going to pull. And Metatron's, oh, that one's just come out. Pretty beautiful, you see that? Okay, and it's the energy of love. just put her up to the camera so you can see her. The energy of love, pink. Okay. So we're dealing with a part of the colour spectrum at the start of this month which feels warm, okay? Which feels inviting. I'm hearing the word inviting. Which is encouraging us to choose the higher path. And the higher path is always the path of love. It's always the path of the second chance. It's always the path of forgiveness. It's always the path of moving on, letting go, but doing so with grace and dignity, okay? And then we've got all this beautiful purple energy as well. And I just, actually, so I'm choking here, because I'm looking at the colour bottles that I've selected for this month before I started pulling any cards. And I've got 4. And I make these sprays myself, by the way, because people don't necessarily know that when you're tuning in. So we've got Sandalphon, Archangel Sandalphon Bronze. We've already looked at him. We have got the Archangel Metatron Jade spray, which is for the Higher Heart. I'll come to that in a moment. But the other 2 are the colours of these cards. Okay, they are the colours. We have Archangel Chamuel, who is about love and peace. And we have Archangel Metatron here, and this is the soul star energy, okay? The soul star is the chakra above the top of our head. So these are very important colour energies for this month of October. And I almost want to say they are the opposite colours of sometimes what October is associated with, which is the darker end of the spectrum. I know I'm wearing black today, but actually it's because I think this is quite a pretty top and it's got lots of colour within it. But, you know, October, we've got Halloween at the end of the month, and it can all get a bit gothic, a bit dark, and the colours that we've got here are the opposite of that, okay? Now let me just spray. I think the best thing I can do here is to just spray and see what Metatron wants me to say over and above Violet Flame, with why we've got all this violet purple light coming in our individual lives. Maybe you'd just like to imagine the violet energy coming down around you as well. So one thing he's reminding me of is that violet is an energy which is linked to spiritual service. And spiritual service doesn't have to mean that you are a healer, you know, seeing clients. It can, of course, serving people in that way, in a public way. It can also be about the very little things in life, being of service to somebody else. And I feel as though some of you are going through quite difficult times in your life right now, are quite bogged down by, I don't know, difficulty, let's just put it that way. And what Metatron is reminding us of is that when we help somebody else, when we serve somebody else, it actually helps us as well. It's a two-way street. By helping somebody else, it makes you feel better. And I'm reminded of my mother here, bless her, who has got very poor health at the moment. And I had a conversation with her yesterday, and I had a very busy day yesterday. I didn't have time to see her. And she said something to me along the lines of, she's going to come round this week and help me out. And she said, I don't mind what I do. I don't mind what I do. You know, I'll clean the bathroom, I'll cook a dinner. I don't mind what I do, within reason, because she hasn't got much energy, but whatever she can do. She said, because it helps me feel less useless. Because her health is very bad at the moment and she can't get out, she can't do much. She might only be able to come round and iron 2 shirts, but the thing is, if she comes round and does that, it makes her feel as though there's a reason for her to get up in the morning, that she's actually helping somebody else, i.e. her daughter, But it's that whole exchange of we all need to feel as though we're needed, we're wanted. But remember too, this thing about when we help somebody else, it actually helps us too. And it helps us to get out of what I'm seeing as, it's like a bog some of us are in at the moment. It's a bit like quicksand. It's like we've got our legs stuck in this mud, and it's like treacle, it's really thick, and it's like, how do we wade through this? You know, there's just so many different things to contend with and deal with collectively and personally. And it's like we're being reminded, just, Metatron is saying, just do one small thing a day, you know? He's not setting the bar that high. He's not saying we've all got to go out there and start, I don't know, running workshops and going around the world or whatever it is that we might be called to do. If you want to do that, great. But he's talking about, you know, at an individual level, just one small thing, you know? It might be a neighbour in your street that never gets out of the house and is lonely. It could be just smiling at somebody as you go down the street. Sorry, that's my husband bringing in the bins. Doing his one act of service today. No, he does lots of acts of service, but sorry, that's just Metatron lightening the load here. The point is, yeah, keep it light and be of service. Okay, that's coming in with the violet ray as well. Let's see what Chamuel has to say, and then we'll put them both together. So Archangel Chamuel, love. What's going on with love this month, Chamuel? Bittersweet, I'm hearing. Bittersweet. What do we mean by that? To appreciate the times that we have with those that we love, even if they are not perfect. To stop just seeing the problems, to stop just seeing the flaws in somebody else, and to start acknowledging and seeing their beauty and the things that they do bring to a relationship. When we are always nitpicking and seeing flaws in another, and I'm particularly talking here about one-on-one relationships, and we all do it, particularly if we've been married or we've been in a long-term relationship. But when we do that, really what we're doing is we're picking at ourselves, you know? There is something that we're not happy about within ourselves. And so rather than look at that, whatever that is, what we do is we project it onto our partner, and suddenly, I don't know, the way that they act or what they do, or the fact that they're slamming the door now, irritates. Whereas actually we need to look within, and we definitely need to be acknowledging the beauty of people that we have in our life, and we can extend that as well to other relationships as well. That feels important. Now I want to put these two energies together, the violet and the pink, and let's just see what message we get when we layer them. So we have Chamuel and we have the Lavender Soul Star. And I've actually got in my head, I don't know who it was somebody on Facebook this morning, just on my personal feed, and they put a picture of a sunset, and it was these colours. And I remember looking at it thinking, wow, those are really unusual colours coming in. I might see if I can find the picture. I can't even remember who posted it. So there is something of a surprise with these colours, because I don't know, my perception of a sunrise is it's the golds, it's the peaches, it's the reds, it's the oranges. It's not these colours, but this is what is coming in to our world and to our individual lives. I'm also, as you put them together, pink and purple, it feels as though there are some things to learn from love this October. Now that doesn't mean it's bad, but it just means there are things to learn from our loving relationships this October. That includes our relationship with self, okay? That very much includes our relationship with self. Okay, let's see what the message of the pink angel was, okay? I'm quite intrigued what her message was to us. Let's just find the relevant page in the book. which always seems to take me ages, so apologies. Pink. It's because it's not alphabetical. Come on, where are you? There we go, pink one. Oh, okay. I wonder what you can imagine that this card is called. Okay, if I put it up without the flare from my window. The message of the card, the title of the card is Unconditional Love. And it says this: a motherly figure with angel wings holds her baby with pure tenderness and unconditional love. The gold and pink light around that mother brings the vibration of trust and shows that she is compassionate, gentle, and a wonderful listener to anyone who opens their heart up to her. She offers to all loving sweetness and uplifting words without judgment. A bouquet of pink roses with emerald leaves are blooming from the child's head, showing that she feels fully loved, balanced, and secure enough to begin her journey as a blossoming soul. The sparkles of light surrounding the child are from the universe in celebration of her birth. Musical notes floating around the infant show that she is listening to her inner symphony as the pink vibration supports the ability to hear her sound and messages from her angels. The message effectively of the card is that we are being asked this October to open to the vibration of unconditional love for yourself and for others. And it is a selfless love, rising inside a softness being born. Feeling vulnerable and sensitive is normal as your consciousness begins to shift into higher dimensions. And then there is a lovely quote here from Gandhi, and it says, "Where there is love, there is life." It definitely feels as though the archangels are encouraging us this October, maybe because of external events that will be transpiring around our world, which ultimately we don't have a lot of control over, there's a very soft, gentle energy here, to be soft with ourselves, to be gentle with ourselves, to be compassionate with ourselves, and also to embody that for other people as well, including our enemies, including those that push our buttons. Okay, so that's that message coming through with those colours. We've then got some brighter energies coming in. We have the energy of Isis. I'm not surprised to see her, to be honest. There she is. Just put her up to the camera so you can see this particular depiction of her. She feels pretty warrior-like, doesn't she? Interesting, actually, she's got the ankh there that she's wearing around her neck. And one of my friends gave me some t-shirts recently. And one of them is black, actually, and it's got this great big gold ankh on it. In fact, I was going to wear it for this video, but I didn't for whatever reason. But I wore it yesterday when I was just dog walking, actually. Sounds a bit strange, but I flung on a pair of tracksuit bottoms. It was a filthy day. It was pouring with rain. I knew it was going to be muddy, and I stuck this t-shirt on. And I went out in it, and then I suddenly started to feel a bit self-conscious, because it wasn't just like a little ankh, it was this great big ankh, basically, on my chest. And there was an aspect of it where I think I was embarrassed, because it almost felt like I was wearing a great big cross or something. I mean, it wasn't just like a little cross around my neck or a little ankh. This was a great big thing, all emblazoned across my chest. And I was thinking, I wonder what people are... I know we shouldn't think about it, but I was thinking, I wonder what people are thinking. I wonder what they're wondering about this huge symbol that I'm wearing around the park. Of course, nobody took the blind bit of notice at all. It was my own insecurities and vulnerabilities coming up. But it did feel as though the ankh as a symbol was coming up for this October. And I'm wondering why that is. And actually, as I'm saying that, I'm looking at Isis, and she's saying to me, well, the ankh has many different meanings, of course, but one thing that it's here to do this October is as a key to help unlock the divine. So my camera just went off. So if you didn't hear that, it was about the Ankh coming in to unlock the divine feminine energy. And I feel it's quite interesting because where she's got the Ankh there, okay, it's sort of in between her throat chakra and what we call the higher heart above the heart. And that's sort of that's the colour that I chose. And it feels as though whether you're male or female, this October, the needs again for this soft loving energy that's needed in our own lives and in the collective, we need to be unleashing more of that feminine energy that we all hold, that caring, nurturing energy. And it feels as though the key, what I'm being told by Metatron is a lot of us have already opened our hearts, okay? We work on that as light workers. We know how important it is to always have our hearts open, to receive love and to give love. Some of us are still working on it, of course, but it's quite a well-known thing. We've got to open our hearts. But the next stage is to open the higher heart here, okay? So let's just spray the jade and let's see what message comes through with that, linking into Isis, Metatron, and actually what she's calling magic, okay? And she's saying straight away to me that by unlocking the higher heart, we are able to unleash the magical transformation that love can unleash upon the world, okay? So and this includes your personal world, so where at the moment situations feel really difficult, really bogged down, really stuck, she is actually encouraging us. In fact, the energy of hope is as well, because this is the energy of love and acceptance. Both of these female energies are coming forward and saying to you, love is the answer. Love it, love it, love it. Love it more, okay? That's not an excuse to stay in abusive relationships or abusive situations, of course not. You know, we have to have a balanced attitude here. But where there is still hope, where there is still learning, where there is still a reason for you to be somewhere, whether it's a job, a relationship, a mindset, whatever it is, you can change it by the vibration of love. Love truly is the strongest energy in the whole world, and it can counteract everything. The energy of hope here, she talks about, it says, love is yours, recognize your divine worth, and choose loving thoughts. How many times have we heard that, you know? And how many times have we dismissed that? Let's be honest with ourselves. You know, some of the spiritual truths are actually very, very simple. And it's almost as though they're too simple, so we dismiss them. It can't be that easy. Well, actually, it can. But it isn't as easy as you think it is. So this thing about choose loving thoughts, oh, well, yes, I can do that. It actually takes practice. I was reading something the other day. It talked about it's 66 days to get a new habit firmly bedded in, okay? And 66 days is still quite a long period of time for you to actively be choosing loving thoughts over a negative script, over a destructive script that might be running through your mind of I can't do this, or I won't do this, or what if, to replace it with a loving thought to self. It's really, really important this month. And again, I think it ties in with all of this energy here, which is about being kind and being loving to yourself. Saint Germain coming in and saying, let all of the other stuff go, you know, and just dip into heart. Heart is where the truth is. I'm also hearing as well, it's a month to step out of ego, okay? We all have ego. You can't not have ego. Everyone has ego. It's part of being human. But let that not drive you this month. You know, be aware of when it gets out of balance and counter it all the time with higher self and a loving response. Okay, let's pull a sacred geometry card. Before I do that, actually, I didn't know why, but I've got this crystal sitting on my desk, which doesn't look particularly attractive. And I must admit, I bought this over the internet. I have a new lady, Linda McKinnon, who is my crystal expert, and she helps me with the crystals to put into each of my sprays, because I make a crystal infusion for the sprays. They all have crystal energies in them. And I was searching for an emerald, and didn't have an emerald. This is obviously a raw emerald. And online, I knew I needed it. I looked at it and I thought it's actually quite ugly. But I tell you what, it is the most beautiful stone. Can you see that? Can you see how it sparkles? And it feels as though emerald is just a very important energy for us all to be dipping into this October. Just look how beautiful that is. Isn't it gorgeous? And of course, emerald links into our heart. It links into our heart. And our hearts are beautiful. So dip into your heart. Right, let's pull a sacred geometry card, and I might pull a couple, but let's just see what the first one is that we get. I haven't used these for a while. Oop, that one's... No, I'm going to reshuffle those because a couple came out together. I was going to say I haven't used these for a while, but I felt really called to bring a bit of sacred geometry in for this October. And those of you that are new to Metatron, you know, sacred geometry, which is, you know, shapes and patterns, are one of the ways, one of the languages that he talks to us. Another one being colour, another one being numbers, but sacred geometry is also one of the ways that Metatron speaks to us. Okay, we've got this one, which it... Can you see what that says? Love and power. Love and power. It's definitely a month for looking at love, isn't it? Love and power. Wow. Let's have one more to go with that, and then we'll talk about that one. I don't think I've ever pulled that one, actually. And this one, the Mayan Dream. I'll come back to that one in a moment, because I want to talk about love and power. And I want to just put the image up to the camera so you can see it. Can you see that clearly? So what we've got here is we've got man and woman, and we've got them uniting, and we've got the heart energy in the middle. And we've also got, if you can see it, there are like little lightning flashes here in each of the corners, almost sort of implying electricity, you know, flashes, sparks. Right, what do I want to say about this? It feels as though, I will read the, you know, the meaning, as it were, from the official meaning in the book, but to me this is about the union also of divine male and divine female. I was pausing just for a moment, because actually the images on the card, they both look like men, but actually they're not. That one is a woman. And the reason why I suddenly thought, are they both men, is it feels as though it's very much a time for men to open up their hearts to the divine feminine energies at the moment. But it is actually a man and a woman. I can see that now. So this is about, it's about many things. There's also an aspect of twin flame energy is here, twin flames coming together. Maybe there is a window in October for some twin flames to reunite as well, because twin flames are very much associated with a new template for love upon this planet that wants to come in and be birthed. And it's a huge subject, and I might do another video on twin flames another time. Don't want to get too into it here, but I do know that some twin flames are being called back to each other at this time from across. It's almost like from across the, I don't know, the divide. They are being pulled back by love. So there's that message coming through. There's also the message between divine male and divine female coming back together. And there's also a thing about, I think, just general, you know, day-to-day relationships and partnerships, which is that from a place of divide, maybe from places where you have felt relationships are hopeless and doomed, there can be a pulling together again, but you have to acknowledge that you've both grown quite distant from each other, but you can pull back. But love and power, let's read the actual message that goes with this card, and it's card number 64. So what does it say? It's one of the last cards in the deck. It is the last card in the deck, so that's interesting in itself. And it says intentional balance. It's the last card in the deck, and it represents the culmination of the new and ancient wisdom of sacred geometry. So it reminds us of the geometry of shape and form is part and parcel of our very existence. The complex geometry of this card acts as a catalyst and a prayer that we as human beings, men and women, acting in accordance with divine wisdom and with intention towards our highest good, can learn to live and love in balance. This is a mighty prayer, for we have long used power as a means of control and domination. We will learn this new and tremendously creative and dynamic method of communication and interaction only if we believe that humanity is worth saving. We must individually and collectively be willing to take part in this shift. We must be willing to accept responsibility for our actions and our thoughts and to use our power wisely. As power to, not power over. In so doing, we will usher in an age of peace and enlightenment when humans no longer act from greed and anger, but find the most powerful acts to be acts of love that come directly from their hearts. Sort of sums up what we've been talking about. This is a month to walk the talk, everyone. This is a month to really step into heart space, to step into love. And I feel with all this violet energy here as well, it's because we're going to have, there's challenges around in the collective. I mean, you just open your newspapers today and you can see that, you know, it's there, and I'm afraid it's going to be ongoing. So we can either sink into the drama of that and let it really affect our individual lives, or we can step out of it and we can step back into our heart and into love. That's what the world needs now. That's what Mother Earth needs now. That's why Sandalphon was saying at the beginning of this that we need to tread lightly upon the earth at this time in our individual lives, because that's where it starts, that's where it's seeded. So those choosing violence or oppression or aggression or whatever else is going on around us, even if it's not physically around us, maybe it's just in another country, but we're affected by it, detach from that, sink back into this. Okay, just going to have a glug of water before going on to the Mayan dream. I'm not sure I've got the right card there, actually. No, Metatron's saying keep it. Because actually I don't understand it, but that's fine. Because actually as I look at it, he's saying look at it. He's saying look at it, Amanda. Okay, so let's just look at it. Can you see there is a woman and she's dressed in emerald. Why was I going to put this card back? She's dressed in emerald and there are steps. Okay, there are steps leading up to the summit. Okay, you see that? And at the moment, she's asleep. Can you see that? She represents the divine feminine energy within us. She's asleep. But she's quite peaceful. She's like, Metatron's saying she's like Sleeping Beauty. And in Sleeping Beauty, that old fairy tale, she wakes up. She's kissed, isn't she, by the prince. And she wakes up as she was, you know? She wakes up alert and alive and fertile and beautiful, and she hasn't been harmed by having been asleep. If anything, she has been rejuvenated by being asleep. So this sleeping woman here at the bottom of the stairs represents us asleep. And this October, what we need to do is we need to wake ourselves up from the lull that we've been in, okay? And we need to start climbing these steps. And these steps represent humanity's ascent to the new world, okay? The balanced world, the Mayan dream. some of us may be woken up by quite a loud alarm call, okay? Hopefully not too many of us, but you know, that might happen. And if that does happen through some sort of event or happening this October, realise that it's all to do with stepping into this, okay? Waking her up, stepping into that energy. But most of us, I think, have already had the alarm call, to be perfectly honest. And what Metatron is showing me is it's an alarm call that's been going off for quite a long time, actually. And you know when, you know, you wake up, the alarm goes off and you put it onto sleep mode, don't you? And then it buzzes again after 15 minutes. Then you put it down and you think, no, I want more. And then it goes off again after 15 minutes. Then eventually you stumble up awake. That's what I do anyway. That's what I feel most of us have been doing, actually. So it's not going to be a rude awakening for most of us. Okay, he's wanting me to clarify that. It's not going to be a rude awakening for most of us that are on our spiritual path already. There may be some people that are not on their spiritual path at all where it's going to be a rude awakening. But that's collective things that might come into play. Let's read the message then that goes with 21, Mayan Dream. Let's just see where we're getting to. So 21 is cosmic connection. Ties in quite nicely to soul star energy as well. I'm just going to spray that around me whilst I read about the cosmic connection. So spirals. Let's put the card up so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, see that? Spirals compose the most basic geometry of life and speak to us on a level of our deepest knowing. Spirals both curve and move in an angular fashion. The card contains both curved and angular spirals. The design at the top and sides is painted on a wall in the ruined Mayan city of Palenque in Mexico. It is symbolic of the beginning, the germination, the essence, and the seed from which all life springs. In the background is the Temple of the Inscriptions. This temple contains the tomb of the Mayan king, Pakal the Great, whose sarcophagus has been the subject of much research and conjecture. In choosing this card, you are asked to enter dream time and find the inner journey to your spiral beginnings. As spirals are the purest form of moving energy, you can travel the spiral dream journey to the level of subatomic particles and watch them reveal their spiral vortices. You can travel to galaxies, watching the magnificent dance as they go spinning through space. This is the dream that will help you realise your place in the universe, not small or insignificant, but an integral part of a glorious whole. So I think it's a reminder here of your true spiritual self, which is a soul who belongs not just to Earth but to the greater cosmos as well, and everything that's happening down here on Earth at the moment, both in your individual lives and in the wider collective. And they're so entwined at the moment. It's actually quite difficult, I'm finding, to do individual readings, these type of readings at the moment, because there is just so much in a collective. Interference makes it sound negative, but it's not negative, because it's actually all learning. You know, it's like, how do we respond to what's happening in the collective? That's the challenge at the moment. That's the individual challenge for all of us. Okay, so let's just end with, what should we end with? I'm going to end with a message from Sandalphon, which is where we started. So let's just breathe in the bronze energy, connect into your feet upon the earth. And Sandalphon is saying that where we start the month is not where we finish the month. It feels as though there is a big leap a big transition that is going to be taking place in October. That where we start the month is not where we finish the month. What does he mean by that? Some of us are going to be helped over, what I'm basically seeing is, I'm not even necessarily seeing a bridge, I'm seeing one place here and one place here. And this is the start of October and this is the end of October. And somehow we get from here to here. And in the middle is this great big expanse of void, is what it feels like. And some of us are going to be springboarded over. Some of us are going to be helped over. We're going to be helped over. We're going to be helped this month. And all we have to do to be helped is to stay in that vibration of love. To be open. To get the shove that we need to get us to where we need to be by the beginning of November. There's something important that comes in November that we have to be ready for, and we have to have shifted through a lot of stuff in October. And we've got to stay in love, guys. We've got to stay in love. I'm wondering whether this ties into spiritual intervention as well, which I talked about a few months ago, because I can't read what's in the middle of these two things. I can just see that and I can see that. And I can't see what's in the middle, but it doesn't matter. I don't even see the bridge. I somehow see that we get there with help. It's nothing to worry about. But I think there are some fated things to happen this October. And I think there are some moments of divine intervention that are to happen this October. And I think there is a lot of support coming in for all of us. Let's pull a final card. Let's do a final Keepers of the Light card. And in a way, I've just said there's a lot of spiritual support, and I'm just looking at the energies we've been looking at today. We've had Metatron, Sandalphon, Chamuel. We've had Saint Germain, Isis, Hope, Holy Amethyst. I mean, you know, they're flooding in. Let's see who the last one is. I could hazard a guess, but we'll see. The last energy for October to help us. Charity. It's the same vibrations. It's this pinky energy. Charity. I'm going to read her message. Prayer and contemplation. And it says, connect with heaven. Ask and you shall receive. Ask and you... I said that earlier about Sandalphon. Sandalphon's the one that takes prayers to heaven. I actually think that some of us are here. We need to be there. We don't know how the hell to get there. We have to ask. We have to pray. We have to give it up. Let's see what the message on the card says for that one. It's a beautiful energy, actually. I'd call that... I'd bring in the energy of magenta there as well. Magenta and pink. But can you also see that we've got all these female guides. Holy Amethyst, Charity, Hope, Isis. You know, there's a lot of feminine energy here. Chamuel, I would always associate as being a feminine energy as well. Sandalphon is male, but with a more feminine energy, if that makes sense. Metatron and Saint Germain are the two male energies that we've got. The rest, it's all female. And of course, we must remember, it's so important, that when we talk about the return of the divine feminine and stepping into our divine feminine energy, it doesn't mean you neglect the divine masculine. Has to be balanced, otherwise you'll just be on a seesaw and it'll just go too much the other way. So that's why we've got the male guides here. You know, they're always going to be needed. Right, what was I going to do? I was going to read the card for Charity, wasn't I? Let's see what she says, and then we'll end this here. And I suspect I'll be speaking to you again before too long about collective things, but let's see what Charity says. This is the message. Let's put her up to the camera. Faith, hope and charity. Well, we had hope already, didn't we? We've got hope and charity. Faith is what you have to have, what I have to have. Charity. Faith, hope and charity are a trinity of archangels who are dedicated to helping us regain our natural traits of kindness, trust and faith in the highest good. Charity is the twin flame of Archangel Chamuel. Okay, we've got Chamuel already on the table. She has a great spirit that encourages us to undertake the spiritual practices of prayer and meditation. Prayer is the way we speak with the divine, and meditation is the way we open ourselves to receive the answers we need to hear. Charity is also the angel who kisses the forehead of all those who pray in support of others. She absolutely loves to see this kindness because it creates an inspirational, healing wave of goodwill to the world. I hope you can feel the energy of this reading, because it's all been about these soft energies of love, of compassion, of kindness. We go back actually to Aloha, you know, and what that actually represents. And in a way, Aloha represents everything that I've been talking about here today. I think what we'll do is we'll end with a prayer, as we've been told to pray, and we're going to use Archangel Chamuel. Okay, so this is the energy of love. So let's just sink into our heart space, and let's say a prayer for October. And the prayer for October is that we ask the archangels, we ask you, Archangel Chamuel, to be our bridge back to ourselves, to remind us of all the times that we do not show love or compassion, and to strive to always respond in the highest way possible in our individual lives, for us to be an example to others, for us also to be able to step into love for ourselves, our true divine selves, and to see that divinity in all. And let's just channel through the energy of Chamuel now to you. Just end with just a little few seconds of silence. Love conquers all. Love is all. Love is your birthright. Love is where you are. Love is where I am. We are love. Affirm this planet is love, even when it appears not. This planet beats to the vibration of love, even when it appears not. Plant seeds of love and watch them grow. Namaste. Well, much love everybody, and I will see you shortly, probably a week or so. I'll do another video and we'll look at what's going on in the collective. Bye for now. Keep it soft, tread softly. Bye-bye.